Can you go with Travis Boak or not?
Yes.
So what's happened with him this week?
Oh, no, Trav's just managing his body. He's a pro at managing his body, and he knows when he's not quite been perfect. He wasn't quite right, as in perfect, right, going through last week, and he got through the game fine. So he's the same situation a little bit. We just manage him through the week. It's round 17, I think. It's that time of the year. You know, we've almost finished playing.
So the scans
last year at this time. If you think about the minutes that we've played, we've pretty much played them. Scans are okay, yeah.
So what about Butters then? Can you tick that one as well?
Yes, I can tick that one. Butters will play.
Did you know straight away after the weekend?
He only had to take the field. That's all he needed to do, to be fair. I mean, Zach's not I said this last, he's an AFL player every day of the week. We needed to give him a run to allow him to feel like he's capable of doing what he needs to do. We're really pleased with what he was able to do in the game out at Centrals. You know, he's really important to us, but you know, we've seen people come off these injuries. I'll use Paddy Dangerfield as an example. Paddy was back, I think, 3 weeks, but last week he was back at his best from what I've seen, and I think this is expectation on Zach as he'll be, you know, good for us back in the team, but he'll certainly get better as each week goes.
So is it simple as Butters replaces Farrell?
Yes.
Do some other things.
We'll bring Clury in as well.
So what happens in your back area there? How do you fit in with all the rest?
Well, Riley will miss out, so we'll manage our backs and we'll play our tools where we need to play them. We're lucky that our tools are not. Sometimes we're unlucky. They're not really big people. They're basically 191s, 192 centimetres. They're almost a normal sized defender.
Does that mean someone starts on the bench and rotates, or could you have more?
No, they can certainly play together, and that's, you know, something that we've wanted to have a look at. You know, we had Trent in pretty good form for a while with Cluz. We weren't prepared to go there, but we think we're at a stage now where we need to have a look at this and see where it takes us.
A bit of a one and done mentality. Expect the same thing for Xavier Durkin if he gets through.
Yeah, he's a little bit. He's potentially a little bit different because he's, you know, his soft tissue injuries over the past have been a little bit of a concern for us. So we'll be a little bit more mindful of what type of numbers he's producing and how he goes in the game as well. So he's not an absolute lock, but we do like him in our team. So we'll let him play through the week and see what happens.
Considering what Melbourne's defence has shown this year and how well it's rated, what does this say about your forwards and approaching out?
I don't know that it's going to say too much about our forwards other than that we've got a really talented defensive team that we're going to have to go up against, but we face that every time. Look, every time you play the very top sides in the competition, you face significant challenges, whether it be defence, whether it be offence or contest. We face significant challenges, and the challenge is to be able to lessen what they can do and put a bit more heat on them.
You've had some challenges with Braun when he's gone with defence in the past. Do you know how you can work around it this time?
We've got a really good ruckman that can play on him too. So I mean, we've got Scott Lycett who will be a challenge for Max at the same time. So I mean, I think both blokes have got their own talents, but you know, they've got great respect for each other, I'm sure.
You know, a bit of a drinking game. Scott goes forward and can score, and Max goes back and stops scores.
Yeah, well, Max will have to make sure he's aware of where Scott is, and vice versa up the other end too. It is a bit of a challenge, but it's the ability of the team that gives the opportunity to ruck to get control.
This week you won in that lane of danger game, but what sort of game is this one? Where have you played this time?
It's another game. It's a great opportunity. It's against one of the best teams in the competition, and it's an opportunity to get further education on where we're at and what we're doing. And you know, it'll be like the next 5 or 6 weeks. They'll give us opportunities to get better.
A bit of a one-two punch now. It's not just Braun, you've got Jackson.
Yeah, good young player, isn't he? Yeah.
Were you tempted at all to bring in a Ladham's type to counteract that, or would Charlie have to spend more time in the
Yeah, no, we certainly did think about Pete. There's no doubt about that. We had a lot of thought about Pete Ladhams this week because he's a high quality young ruckman for us too. Like Jackson, it was seriously considered, but in the end we took the balance of opportunity and said we need our forwards that are capable of challenging a couple of really strong defenders as well.
On those sort of players and guys back there in the defence that you've got this week, who among the forward defenders is best suited to, you know, a medium or a small forward?
Well, Jonas is 189, I think. Tommy, he's our captain, but he tends to get big people. But he can play, and Burton's the same. They can all play. Cluz, I had no problems. You know, Ali's shown plenty of flexibility himself with being a ground level player as well. So and Trent's 191. So that, as I said, they're not big, but you know they're big men as far as contest goes, and that's what I think you need for against Melbourne, and potentially Melbourne may bring in another tall forward too.
And on Pavis, where do you think he'll be playing most of his football?
Mid forward is where he plays. That's what he does. We expect that he'll be playing his time equally shared between both areas of the ground.
Have you noticed his absence? And covered it up. Have you noticed it sitting on the box, just the way games have unfolded in the last 3 months?
Without putting it all on Zach, we've noticed we've missed a bit of our front half football movement, I think, and that's with Xavier, that's with Robbie also being out, it's with Zach being out, it's with Orazio. You know, there's a number of those boys who have been missing together. You know, I think Motts has had to carry a fair bit of that, and he's done it really well for us in that period of time. We've brought in some younger people, and they've had to take a turn at it too. But yeah, there's no doubt that when you've got quality missing in number of people in the one area, you do feel it a bit.
What was the Orazio update? Sort of just keep drifting.
Yeah, it is. It's a frustrating one for us as it is for him. He had further information this week. He's seen the surgeons again this week to make sure that we're on track with what it is. It's push ahead and see where it goes. We think it's still probably 2-3 weeks, and it might not be that it's that. It might be longer, but it's a frustrating injury for him. He's had some surgery to fix his knee, and it hasn't quite responded the way we'd have liked. So it's a week-to-week proposition a bit. Yeah, he's got some issues with his knee that's being managed, and the surgery we hopeful would fix it mainly, but there's still some problems with it.
So notable that Charlie Nixon's working out how to deal with double team, triple teams at the moment.
No, he's been doing it for 6 years here, so it's not an issue for him. I don't think he's playing pretty good footy. You know, as I said, sometimes it's resulted in goals, and other times it's not resulting in goals. But he plays the same way most weeks, and you know, makes a big difference to us.
Just back to the others 1%. Does that surprise you at all? Just how quickly he's been able to come back?
We thought that may happen, but that's why it's hard to predict with injury sometimes, because we sit here and we get, what's your injury? Oh, you're telling us it was 2 or 3 weeks, and it's still another 2 or 3 weeks. So it's really hard to predict with some of those injuries. And Zach's was always around when he was getting some decent movement and feeling back in his ankle and his foot. As soon as that happened, we thought it was going to be quick, but it's probably a week ahead of what I thought it was going to be. To be fair to us, it surprised us.
How excited is he about playing on Thursday night?
Zach loves footy. He just loves footy. He's world's footy a little bit. Probably sometimes too much for Zach because he just puts so much pressure on himself. But yeah, he loves footy and he's excited.
Is there something with minutes at all? Will he be on a minutes limit?
Oh no, like every one of our players, he's physically fit. That's not. His challenge will be, you know, conditioned to playing footy at AFL level again. Will be a bit of a physical challenge, I'd imagine, for him. But we'll manage him like we've managed most of the players, every player this week.
And is there something or many things that you want to have by the end of tomorrow night on that learning curve that talk?
Oh, the one thing I'd want is a win. That's the one thing I want. The learning curve is that we keep fine-tuning our own game regardless of who the opposition are, and that's what we do each week. We educate and we progress our football team every week through a football season. I know people think, oh, you know, round 17, you should be where you are. Well, I sort of disagree. I think you can always get improvements, and you can always get improvements in personnel, and you get improvements in game style. So most importantly, a win would be very, very important for us, and you know, we come here trying to get a win tomorrow night.
How much belief comes from beating the best sides? I know it's about ladder position, but how much
Yeah.
belief comes?
It's real. It's, you know, you do want to gain some confidence out of that. There's no doubt about that. But you know, the reality is, win or lose, you got to keep going, and you just got to keep turning up, because you never know when your absolute, you know, your best might be right to go, and it might be a game where you get the right game that you want, and you gain that confidence yourself. I don't think any team in the top 4 or 5 at the moment, or 6, is hanging their hat on one game, one result. It's still, for us, it's a challenge of week in, week out, trying to get enough results in your favour.
Now, you talk about the pressure that, or undue work that maybe not got sent to do in the absence of some other sides. His 200th game, what sort of, one, I mean, what sort of career do you think he's had, and two, what's the biggest change that you've seen from maybe this time last year when he was in and out of the team to being more consistent?
Stevie's been a really good footballer for a long time. He's been a match winner. You know, he's at Geelong, he's in his past, and he's been able to win big games at big moments. And for us, he's done that. You know, there's games that he's won for us in a short period of time at Port Adelaide. He's just he does. I think it might be strange for me to say, but I think he's found a real love of the game again a little bit. And you know, in the last couple of years, I think you can just tell that Stephen's loving his time at our footy club and loving his time playing footy still, and he's enjoying those moments. And he's an absolute professional with the way he prepares. You know, he's the best I think we have almost when it comes to prehab and rehabbing and doing things that he does to keep himself in great shape. Trains hard, works hard, and he's a funny bloke. He's a really funny bloke, and you love him, Randy. He brings energy and he brings excitement to your footy club. I'm just really pleased for him that he's having a really strong year.
You spoke the other day about having to be in a pretty dry position where it could all go well in a high forward, or it could all be very, very dry. How do you keep him motivated so he doesn't go down on himself if it's been a dry night?
We recognise his role. We recognise what he brings, and sometimes it's really unrewarded. And Stephen knows that. All our high forwards probably know that. To be fair, some days it's a good day, some days it's not such a good day when it looks like the numbers look like they're in your favour. But for us, it's around the role that you play for the team to be successful. And if the team's successful, I think they get enough reward out of that, and they're happy to be part of a good team.
What was your reaction when you heard the those last news?
I was surprised. Yeah, totally surprised. But footy doesn't surprise you, does it? When I said I was totally surprised.